Creation, she shaman, I will guide you to your muse. In a time before history, she shaman walks the earth, bestowing artistic talents on a select few. One day, she rests under a birch tree. "Hey," says Birch, "I want my muse too." Birch entertains she shaman for a long time, singing and telling tales. She shaman smiles. "My great friend, you have had your art all along." She vows that from then on, she will give everyone their own gift. To this day, she shaman has never left us. We see her inside every creative work. Letting go of old ideas and allowing new growth are primary now. The mission you have been on may be complete. A new dawn is coming, and it is time to open yourself to divine inspiration. The message here is, let go. You no longer need to be the warrior. Your path is an artistic one. Express your love in a tangible art form. It is time to make decisions. Open a notebook to a clean page. Close your eyes and imagine she shaman standing in the mist, holding out her hand. Follow her into the mist. As you walk, she motions to sit. Ask for her guidance. Pick up your notebook and write. Simply write whatever comes. Do not censor or judge the words. They may mean nothing right now, but they will. Thank she shaman for her visit. You have pulled this card into your reality today, as it's a powerful time of spiritual awakening. The whole planet and everything on it is waking up slowly from a big sleep. The ancients call it the time of the awakening. Our hearts are opening and expanding to experience a deeper sense of love and wisdom. This time is an important rite of passage for you, and you are awaking to a deeper sense of your spiritual being. Your awareness is expanding, and your connection to the wisdom of the universe is stronger than ever. Sometimes this can be uncomfortable and challenging. However, always remember that through these challenges, you have the ability to grow. You are being asked to let go of anything that is stopping you from experiencing this deep connection at present. It's time to discard old beliefs and bring in new ones that support your growth. Make sure to nurture this process by meditating, attending a weekly spiritual group, or reading books that can assist in this powerful process. Your vibration and energy is moving to a more refined state of being, and you are currently receiving divine messages and healing as you deepen your spiritual awareness. This can mark a great time of change, where what you knew to be true is restructured and a whole new understanding is birthed within you. All good things take time, so be patient with this awakening and trust the process. This card can also indicate that the question you are asking or requiring clarity on has a big connection to your spiritual growth, and the answers lie within this new spiritual awakening. Two of Swords. A pause in activity. Procrastination. This too can show you feeling caught between two people or two paths, and the indecision leaves you feeling stuck and depleted. You may feel that neither route is clear nor ideal. However, there is a time for action. Otherwise, the issue becomes greater than it deserves to be, as you ponder each potential outcome or avoid making a decision altogether. An additional meaning of the card is a truce, or taking time out during a period of stress or conflict. Whatever I decide, I trust in the outcome. Calcinatio is the great alchemical operation of fire, It occurs when there is enough heat in the vessel to transform the nature of that which is solid or fixed. How does calcinatio begin? With a tiny glimmer, an urge, a desire that builds into a robust flame. On a psychic level, this stage may be an uprising of emotion that has been repressed or dismissed. It wants something big to change, to be brought to the light and purified. Perhaps a flawed ideology, institution, or outlook. Frustration and anger are wondrous change makers if their heat is channeled with space, time, and awareness. The transformation that occurs from calcinatio is rarely harmonious. It requires commitment and a willingness to sit through discomfort as old patterns fall into ashes. The flame initiates sacred change, and eventually the phoenix rises. Gate 4. Possibility. Challenges. To learn to embrace ideas as possibilities, not answers, and to let the power of the possibilities stimulate the imagination as a way of calibrating the emotions and the heart. To not be doubtful if the idea isn't manifesting immediately. To not turn doubt inward if you can't figure out how to make this idea a reality. This gate teaches us the power of learning to wait and see which possibility actually manifests in the physical world and to experiment with options and response. Mastery. The ability to experience an idea as a possibility, to learn to use the idea as a seed for the imagination, and to use the imagination to create an emotional response, which then calibrates the heart and attracts experiences and opportunities that match the possibility into your life. I am tuned in to the cosmic flow possibility. I am inspired about exploring new possibilities and potentials. I use the power of my thoughts to stretch the limits of what is known and engage my imagination to explore the potential of the unknown. You may have experienced an unexpected loss that has left you a little bit sore. Sometimes life just isn't fair, and these inequities can drain our energy for much longer than they need to. Often, it's the fear of failure that does most of the draining. If you are feeling outsmarted or outjousted, remember that one chapter doesn't define you. Wins and losses are both a part of the human experience, and the keys to self-improvement lie dormant inside the difficulties. Boost your consciousness, upgrade your skills, and build on this experience. In Shadow, we learn that winning isn't everything, especially when deceit is a part of the strategy. The obsessive desire to win can have us stopping at nothing to feel victorious, and in the long run, we risk everything we've built along the way. You may find yourself a few steps backward after winning if you are not bringing your integrity to the games. I'm scared of failure all the time, but I'm not scared enough to stop trying. Ronda Rousey. When working towards a goal, always remember to congratulate yourself for the little victories along the way. When you become caught up in the end game, it is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that those little steps of progress are insignificant. Be grateful for each one of these little wins. Life is not a linear pathway from the cradle to the grave. It is a journey of many beginnings, many endings, and many detours. Throughout your journey, there are times when you will find yourself knocked down, falling short of the mark, or disappointed that the cards have not fallen in your favor. It is time to remind yourself that all these things are part of the journey through life, and it is through these difficult experiences that you will find victories all the sweeter. Embrace each and every experience as they offer you a lesson, an appreciation, or an opportunity for gratitude. Failure is not an ending to the journey, but rather a learning curve from which you will emerge more brilliant than ever before. Stay the course, remain humble, and above all, remember that what might seem like an ending is actually a beautiful beginning. The Ouroboros depicts a serpent devouring its tail, representing the infinite passage of time and the cyclical nature of life. Each new chapter reminds you that no journey has ever truly ended, but is simply the turning of another page. I understand that failure is not an ending, but simply an opportunity for growth. Your purpose is personal expansion. So many of us are searching for the one thing that gives us purpose and defines us, the life purpose we think we were born for. Consider that life is the purpose. To live your life more on purpose is the entire reward of your personal journey. Let go of thinking your purpose is just one thing, or what you do, and embrace the full expression of yourself, which is your personal expansion. Perhaps you are putting extra pressure on yourself by trying to discover and define yourself and fit into a box. But the things you do are not who you are. They do not define you. If you feel called to step into a new career, relationship, or experience, then follow this inner nudge and trust the bigger picture of your life. Staying connected to your true self will help you stay balanced and aligned with your values. Divine assignment. Instead of focusing on what you should do, allow yourself to do what you truly want. Be unapologetic about your desires and live a life that feels good from the inside out. Make choices that align with your values, and your true self will flourish. You've drawn this card as a reminder that your life is perfect as it is, right in this moment, and you are a perfect expression within your life. As you dive deeper into living more intentionally, all of your experiences become richer and more rewarding. You can stop second-guessing yourself and step into your personal power by aligning with your intentions. Surrender to wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. The bird pictured on this card is looking out from what seems to be a cage. There is no door, and actually the bars are disappearing. The bars were an illusion, and this small bird is being summoned by the grace and freedom and encouragement of the others. It is spreading its wings, ready to take flight for the very first time. The dawn of a new understanding that the cage has always been open, and the sky has always been there for us to explore, can make us feel a little shaky at first. It's fine and natural to be shaky, but don't let it overshadow the opportunity to experience the lightheartedness and adventure on offer, right there alongside the shakiness. Move with the sweetness and gentleness of this time. Feel the fluttering within. Spread your wings and be free. In the words of Osho, you are out of jail, out of the cage. You can open your wings and the whole sky is yours. All the stars and the moon and the sun belong to you. You can disappear into the blueness of the beyond. Just drop clinging to this cage. Move out of the cage and the whole sky is yours. Open your wings and fly across the sun like an eagle. In the inner sky, in the inner world, freedom is the highest value. Everything else is secondary, even blissfulness, ecstasy. There are thousands of flowers, uncountable, but they all become possible in the climate of freedom. The Hanged Man, the Uncertainty Principle. The Hanged Man asks you to sacrifice your old ways of looking at the world to gain a greater vision. The development of the uncertainty principle in the late 1920s was a key moment in the evolution of quantum theory. German physicist Werner Heisenberg realized that it was impossible to know the exact position of a subatomic particle and its momentum at the same time with total accuracy. This is because subatomic particles exhibit both wave and particle-like behavior, and so cannot be completely defined as either. Heisenberg found a way of stating the problem mathematically, combining Planck's constant and the inexact science of probability. The uncertainty principle, like the hanged man, turns everything upside down. Physicists in the early 20th century, trained to think in terms of precision and exactitude, were understandably resistant to the idea that at a fundamental level, the stuff of our universe is imprecise and inexact. The Hanged Man card represents the state of existential confusion, where our old ways of thinking and being no longer work. The image of a man dangling, apparently willingly, from his ankle is a resonant and complex one. The essential message is that something must be freely relinquished to attain a greater purpose. It symbolizes the difficult moment when the old has been sacrificed, but the new has yet to be born. A meandering river is a waterway that curves, bends, turns, and seems to swing side to side as it flows forward. Viewed from above, it looks sinuous and even snake-like. Meandering rivers are dynamic as they wind their way across valley floors and bring life-giving sediment to new habitats. The word meander was derived from the ancient Meander River, which flows into the Aegean Sea. The Greeks created symbols for meander that have been described as some of the most important symbols for the ancient Greek culture. They represented the fluid movement of water and the eternal flow of all life. The twisting patterns were also thought to represent the serpent, which was the symbol of healing. Hence, our present-day symbol for doctors is the caduceus. The sacred landscape wants you to know there are times to hold on tight to the shore, and there are times to enter the flow. Notice where life is going and move in that direction. Watch for signs and follow them. Don't resist. When you go with the flow, your life force expands and healing on all levels abounds. This is also the time to release old limiting patterns, forgive, and let go of the need to be right about your beliefs. If you aren't feeling the smooth currents of life, it might mean that you're being self-critical or judgmental. When you enter the flow with gratitude and love, you will find blessings surrounding you. You will enter into a state of grace, and healing will abound. Love is such a powerful force. Love is manifestation. Think of a time when you felt unwavering love for something. You will see that it manifested. Love propelled you forward to manifest those things, those experiences, into your life. Whatever you are wanting now, draw it into your life, manifest it with love. Love is the only ingredient to manifestation. Manifestation from fear does not work. You will get something different entirely. What works in your life that you created, you manifested with love. Remember, love is the key. Fear just gets in the way. Fear of not trusting yourself. Fear of loss. Fear of getting it wrong. Fear steps in and makes a mess of it. To turn it around, love what you have in your life right now. Love what has been created. Love your future goals and acquisitions. Give them your love, and they will return this love by achieving and being what you hoped for. Love is what creates love. Fear creates fear. Love more. Love always. Love who you are, where you are, and where you are going. For you are love, and it is your journey. Blessings and love to you, dear child of the stars and the earth. The shadow dancer moves through the forest, finding those who have a strong belief in who they are, how they can change, and who they can become, revealing to them the hidden self they have shunned and avoided. When the shadow dancer comes, you will slowly come to illuminate the unknown within, and in this way, the lost and unloved parts of yourself will be able to come home to you, and in time, become a part of you that will offer you so much richness and creativity. This mysterious being brings to you the blessing that so many of us refuse in this lifetime, the opportunity to work with their shadow. So many flee from her wisdom, but those who stay find many blessings, more than if they had practiced avoidance. To dance with the shadow, to know the shadow, is a great challenge. It is not as simple as acknowledging our less than pleasant qualities. It is to acknowledge that within us there is so much that we are unaware of, and that in order to come to know the shadow self, we must become humble and feel our way into our own deeper self. In this way, our own tendencies become illuminated over time and with patient, steady work. This work takes deep self-love, compassion, and often self-care. It can be troubling and can raise shame, guilt, and fear as we begin to know what we have previously been unable to see. This is a process of seeing the unknown that lies within our own souls. This is not a process of self-condemnation, but one of self-discovery and deep self-love. When this card comes to you, prepare to dance with the shadow, to discover the hidden self within, who is so very different from the self you have created over time. This shadow self will be a great teacher, and will come to you in moments that can shake our foundations. But when we dance with the shadow, we can become closer to whole than we once were. But in order to do so, we must be prepared to explore the strangest, wildest, most avoided aspects of ourselves. In this way, though, we become travelers of the soul, stronger, authentic, with a wisdom that is born out of knowing thyself. When your work with the shadow dancer is undertaken, for it is never truly finished, you will be more whole with a truer sense of who you are here to be. In this three-dimensional world in which we live, there is a sense that we are separate from one another, and also that we meet by chance. This is an illusion. The people in our lives are drawn to us and are here for a reason. It is through sharing experiences and having relationships with others that we begin to understand ourselves. When someone appears in your life, you must see what is not resolved or whole in the person and understand the lessons he or she brings home to you. You draw others to you like magnets in order to learn various aspects of yourself. The people you have close relationships with on earth are usually members of your soul family. You have chosen to incarnate together to help each other learn lessons, even though it may not seem that way to you now. Once a lesson is learned, don't be surprised if that person fades away. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. The humble mouse pays attention to the smallest details, and mouse spirit calls on you to notice the nuances and the fine print at this time. In your eagerness to meet your goals and pursue your dreams, it is easy to forget the importance of clear communication and tending to the little things, including people's subtle signs that they are unhappy, as well as the small voice inside of you that says, "This doesn't feel right." Take your time to sniff out what you need to know. Is there some detail or nuance about how you engage others or operate in the world that is key to your success, but you've too readily dismissed as nothing big or nothing special? Mouse Spirit reminds you that what seems small may be more important and powerful than you think, so look again. Do not underestimate yourself or your potential for co-creating something amazing when you pay attention to the details. If you feel like this energy is manifesting in a less constructive way in your life right now, then the protection message might apply for you. Are you too caught up in details, micromanaging others and stressing out because you want everything to be perfect? Are you procrastinating because you want every detail to be just right and losing track of time and your priorities? Mouse Spirit wants you to listen to your intuition that tells you that the detail you fear you are overlooking will only appear when you stop obsessing. Mouse Spirit will lead you to the nuances you need to notice and will diligently work to support you if you take a breath and trust that guidance will be provided. Small gestures carry great power right now, and maybe you need to take action toward discovering what is going on that you may not be seeing, or toward mending a relationship or a situation. Ask a question, do a little research, and listen for Mouse Spirit's quiet little squeak telling you, look here and attend to this detail. Peace. In stillness, the answer will be revealed. Mother of Tears. Sometimes the best of life opens only once we've let ourselves shed countless tears. So let go and breathe, slowly but surely. Black tourmaline will grant you protection and support. Carry one in secret and place one at your front door. Emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, you must let go of resentment. Channel. You are a channel through which healing energy reaches the world. Observation. Expand your consciousness by observing the divine matrix of life. Reinvent yourself. A transformation is taking place. Enjoy a new lease of life. Lily of the Valley. Happiness is found with your purpose. Reconnect to Mother Nature's world of plenty, and you shall receive a myriad of miracles. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Revelation 22:13. When you give, the flow of life never runs dry. Wholeness can afford to be generous. It feels no lack. The more I give, the more will come to me. Within you, there is a question arising. When you get the question right, the answer will be self-evident. But you have to plunge your consciousness deep within to find the right question, to articulate it clearly, and understand what it is that you are really asking. That question within you is actually a divine gift of awakening. It is your future awakened self waiting to be found and calling to you too. Let the question arise through dreams, dance, meditation, sleep, yoga, time in nature, swimming in the ocean, bathing in an aromatherapy bath, or receiving a hot stone massage. The question holds within it the next unfolding petal of the lotus of your being. This oracle brings you an invitation to enter into the mystery of your life and your being, and to allow the biggest question you can summon to emerge from your heart and be expressed through love. Your question may emerge as clear and shining or soft and yielding, a question with no words, only feeling. Whatever truth emerges, let that be your contemplation. In response to that question, the next step forward will unfold before you, revealed in perfect clarity and perfect timing. This oracle brings you a message from your own divine nature. Come sit with me and breathe. I want to ask you something. I want you to ask me something. Together there is a conversation that we are to have now, and there will be beautiful accord between us that overflows into all of your relationships, bringing more understanding and peace. Patterns break through the night, in beams of light awakening, memories of walking on sand, moments, waves replace, waiting for another passerby. Reflections, time to look outward in, to find those hidden spaces, residing alone, waiting for a twin soul, waiting for myself. There is somewhere you are meant to be. It is here, now, in this moment. There is a gift right under your nose, and fragrant wine in your glass, gleaming red as the most precious rubies. To be here now, you must pass through the keyhole. But your head will tell you this is not possible unless the door is unlocked, even though your body is passing through the keyhole of that locked door into the endless world beyond. Leave your mind to be in its struggles for a moment. Without you laying witness to it, your mind will become like the dog howling for his master's return, even as he steps out the front door. Frustrated temporarily, he will chew on some shoes, then fall asleep peacefully until his master returns. So leave your mind trusting, chewing a little, until you are truly through the keyhole when it can rest. Leave it be. Instead, come dance with me. This oracle brings you a message. You are at the point of growth where your mind can hold you back rather than urge you forward. If you have, like so many, used your mind to support you, to shore up your sense of self in the world and to gain a sense of certainty about how the world works, then this is no easy leap. It will seem as though you are being asked to pass through the keyhole. Of course, your mind will stop and argue for all the reasons why the door should be opened instead of remaining closed, making the task seem so much harder than it needs to be. But this is the mind in resistance. Don't place too much stock in the claims that life should be other than it is. You are being asked to dance rather than understand, to lay the thoughts to rest and to come alive. It is the bravest, most trusting soul that dares put the mind to one side and say, "Tonight we dance, my heart and I, in the great rousing music of the beloved's beating heart, and I will not miss one step." And to awaken the next day and do that all over again, and again, and again. You are ready, you see, sweet soul dancer. You are ready to live beyond what you know, to have it not matter if you don't understand how life can work itself out, or how it could be that someone so normal and ordinary as you and I could also be so magnificent, wild, and divine. The need for answers and plans, assurances and explanations is passing out of your world now. You are not to wait for permission, for explanation, or even for another dance partner, for I am already inviting you on to the great dance floor. You are to let go of any stigma around not knowing. When someone asks you what you are going to do next, or how you are going to manage, you are given this divine mandate. With relish, reveal the truth. I do not know. Know nothing and dance, sweet soul, for all will unveil itself to you in perfect harmony and timing. Your heart shall create the steps in response to the music of the spheres, happening now, alive and spontaneous and free. This oracle brings you a special message. If there is an issue apparently unsolvable or unknowable in your life now, the divine is handling it. The divine is in the middle of it, working through the knot and unraveling it. Fear not. Do the sacred ritual and give yourself permission to take the night off from worry. Repeat this heavenly prescription daily as needed. Sacred honoring ritual. Say aloud, I give my heart permission to lead this dance. I give my mind some time off. No more worry or doubt, planning or resisting. Instead, I surrender. Instead, I open. Instead, I allow. I allow. I allow. And all unfolds with perfection, divine timing, and the miracle of grace. With Rumi as my sole witness, so be it. You have completed your honoring ritual. If you have drawn this sigil, you are currently so identified with something that you cannot separate yourself from that thing enough to be objective or conscious about it. Identity is the condition of being oneself, one's separate self. Another word for this is ego. Whenever we associate something with ourself, we identify with it. It becomes part of us, the same as us. This is what attachment really is. It is identification. And if the thing we identify with is threatened, we experience it as a threat to our own survival, a personal attack. One could argue that identification is a good thing when we identify with things that make us feel good. But the minute we identify with something that causes us to feel good, it contains within it the seeds of its own opposite. Worthiness carries the seeds of unworthiness. Excitement carries the seeds of disappointment. Far more troubling, however, is that we often identify with things that cause us to feel bad, and then we have to keep those things alive in order to keep our own sense of self alive. When it comes to identification, it is not only things external to us that cause us suffering. It is also identification with things we perceive to be internal. We are the most identified with the three primary aspects of ourselves: our body, our mind, and our emotions. Each of these aspects is inherently a different expression of source consciousness. We mistake these expressions for the totality of who we are. It's a bit like a painter who has become so identified with his painting that he has forgotten that who he ultimately is more than his painting. We think we are our emotions, we are our body, and we are our thoughts. In truth, you could disidentify with just about anything. To disidentify with something, you must first identify it as different from yourself, as other than you. For example, if you would like to disidentify from your own pain, all you must do is conceptualize your pain as a separate entity, and when you experience pain, observe the pain, as if you were watching this separate entity reacting. In this way, you do not take the pain personally. This sigil will remind you never to do this separating from process with an attitude of resistance. Instead, allow the aspects of you that you want to disidentify from by exposing them to our conscious awareness, to fall away like rose petals exposed to the sun. This is the key. To try to push away the things you identified with only causes you to become more identified. It only causes you to feel rejected by yourself. You will essentially cause an intense survival reaction in response to your own self-rejection. You cannot try to take something away from yourself without hurting yourself. As it applies to body, thoughts, and emotions, you cannot try hard to disconnect from those aspects of yourself without those things being perceived internally by you as self-abandonment. The way to allow these aspects to fall away is first to recognize them. Relative to this situation, take out a sheet of paper and jot down all the things you suspect you might be identified with. You can be sure that there are many more than those you write down, but this is a consciousness exercise. A good way to find things you're identified with is to look at everything you call mine. For example, the minute you say my friends, you are identified and thus attached to them. Also, everything you would put after I am blank. For example, the minute you say I am sexy, you are identified with being sexy. Try to identify thoughts and beliefs you are identified with. For example, money doesn't grow on trees might be a thought you are identified with. Try to recognize emotions you are identified with. The ones you are the most identified with are the ones that are chronic or come up most often. For example, disappointment might be one. Also, try to recognize the aspects of your body that you are identified with. For example, if you see yourself as fat, you are physically identified with being fat. Anything you identify with will cause a strong reaction in you. The ego has owned it as part of its composite self. Whenever those things are threatened, the ego will go into a state of reactivity and defensiveness. The ego has motive to maintain these aspects of our life, even if they cause us pain. It sees the loss of these things as annihilation. If you have drawn this sigil in this situation, you are not seeing your identification clearly. A little disidentification will do you good.